New York right now, bro, like, I don't even know where to begin with that one.
I know. I've been seeing some crazy shit. I mean, they're still out here, man. They're going hard. Full 10 cars I've been seeing on video and stuff. I'm like, wow, pretty
Yeah,
impressive.
pretty impressive. And more to say with logistics as well. Like, these are the sort of things you see in Hall of Fames.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I just saw some recently the other day. I saw some whole car top to bottom, like full style, and I'm like, damn.
Yeah, how do you get all that done in a layup? Fuck.
Really? I mean, at this point, it's just like, even with like the way things are today, with so many cameras and so motion sensors and all types of things going on, the fact that people are still able to pull work off like that, it's impressive.
Super impressive. I mean, yo, it also, here's the other thing for a lot of people that, like myself to a degree, who weren't privy to see it directly happen back in the day. There's a whole bunch of steps that it takes to get to that point, right? And a
Yeah.
lot of that gets reduced or forgotten about. But when you actually see it roll the way you are online and in face to face, you suddenly appreciate the moves that had to be made to get that on there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just the hours of waiting, the scouting locations. There's times where you spend hours going from one location. That location is no good. You go to another location, you got to wait for workers to leave or whatever. It's crazy. I mean, I haven't done it in years, but just seeing that people are still out here full fledged is amazing.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. You guys started very early. I mean, you had the pick of the crop back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, we were good. We go into a yard, start painting. Halfway through, just kind of walk out of the yard, go to the store, and come back.
Yeah, yeah. Like it was just
Hold
part of
on a
your.
second, my leg. All right, sorry about that. That was my wife.
It's okay. This is COVID life. It's that COVID life.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, she's blending in the kitchen. I'm like, ew.
Is that your lovely lady?
Yeah, she's over there. She started blending. She forgot I was on a Zoom meeting. She started blending away.
um, yeah, let's just jump into it, man. When did it all begin for Bayer? When did it begin, brother?
I mean, for me, it's early on. I grew up here in New York City, so in the like late '79 for me is when I really got that bug. And I had spotted graffiti. I saw it on the subways, and during those times, you had all the greats painting. This is what the heyday of the New York, graph scene. So I grew up in that time. So seeing that, like late '79, early '80s, when I was like, I need to jump in. So I kind of, like everyone, you start out as a toy early on, just wanting to learn the ropes. And when you're a toy, nobody's going to help you. So, you go and you gravitate towards other people who are learning as well. And you little bits here. And there was no like internet back then. There was no magazines. There was none of that where you could pick up a book or a video and learn about this stuff. So it was really like you really had to go out and find information and get information, little bits from here and there to be able to actually jumpstart a career on paint, just to paint trains.
That's crazy when you think about it. Who were the influences? Who were the influences? The immediate ones that come to mind back
I
then?
mean, the immediate ones are, the obvious ones. I mean, the ones that people see, man, the Dondis, the Lees, the Scene, Zephyr, the Crash, Days, Shy, Cos, all the rock star guys that were doing all these productions back then. To people these days, those are common names that they see in magazines, but we didn't see these in magazines. We grew up watching these actual pieces live, running. So this was our direct influence, not from a magazine, but just standing at a station and watching that car pull in with these, top to bottom whole cars by scene, and you're like, damn.
Damn. I mean, it can't go without saying the influence that must have had on the whole of New York. Give me.
Sorry,
like.
Here now, my dog is going crazy. Hey, quiet.
This is that MTV Cribs that should have happened.
He's going nuts because somebody's knocking on the door. Sorry.
It's all good. It's all good. As long as it's not the transport police, we're all good. They're tapping us in now, man. It goes without saying the influence that went on back then. And I'm thinking, explain a little bit to me and to everyone else the energy, the landscape. Try, if you can, give us a mental picture of New York in the state it was in as a youngster, and how much of an impact those colors, those styles, those writers had.
I mean, you got to understand, the landscape in New York City was just the whole climate of the city was, in decay. The city had no money, no funding. So the trains obviously, were tagged up. The streets were dirty. You had entire neighborhoods that were burnt out, abandoned buildings and that sort of situation. So to see like these colorful trains was like, wow, it was like comic books, but created by, people from your neighborhood. Even though you didn't know a lot of these artists, this was something that you related to because it was coming out of your environment. You see a dirty train followed by three more dirty trains, and all of a sudden, boom, a masterpiece. And you're like, whoa. And, it just made you want to do that, grab it, especially if you were into art or something like that. Like for me, when I first saw it, I was like, I saw like this character on the train, and I was like, shit, what is that? I want to do that. But I didn't know what it was. I went back to my neighborhood and I started asking everyone. I said, yo, I grew up in Bronx River Projects. And I started asking people, I was like, yo, I saw some stuff on the train. They're like, oh man, that's graffiti. I was like, what's that? They was like, you got to get a name. You got to get up. I was like, then that's what I need to do.
Oh man. Were you into art at the time like that?
I'm sorry?
Were you into art at the time like that? Was it a thing?
No, I mean, yeah, yes and no. Like I didn't know. I used to like to copy like the comic, like in the newspaper. They used to have like different comic strips. I used to like try drawing the characters from that. I like, even before I knew about graffiti, I like experimenting with letters. So it was a natural fit for me. The minute I saw that, I was like, this is what I want to do that. I didn't know what it was, but I knew I needed to be a part of it.
Yeah, because it was so impactful and still young and everywhere. And
then the crazy thing is, because at the time, graffiti obviously was illegal, but considering what was going on in my neighborhood, what my other friends were into at the time as we're growing up, getting more heavy into heavier crimes, graffiti actually steered me away to a different direction. Instead of saying, hey, let's go do an armed robbery, I'm going to go steal paint, shoplift paint from a store and go paint trains. And that at the time was the lesser of the two, so it's kind of like a saving grace for me.